Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms.
A good amount of people in positions of power all throughout our government that do purchase children
Yeah.
and that don't want to be exposed.
If we actually started focusing on this issue now because of the movie, the first place we would look to get to the bottom of this issue is the whole Epstein Island thing. Because that was a big source of child buying.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Just Think Stupid. Today we're going to be talking about the movie Sound of Freedom. If you haven't already seen it, it's a movie about Tim Ballard, who's a Homeland Security agent. Basically, his job is to bust pedophiles and people distributing child pornography.
Sound of Freedom was released to the public about 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it's very interesting that, the kind of background was that in 2018 the movie was actually fully done. However, right when it was fully done, Disney bought the main home or parent company, and it's been shelved for 5 years until some other company came in that's Utah-based, decided to release it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, or it's a different section of Disney. I can't remember which. I think it's a new company, but I'm not sure. But it's interesting that
So Disney bought it. So Disney bought Angel Studios or what?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Really?
No.
Yeah. Disney bought Angel Studios. And that's their new parent company, and they shelved the fucking movie for 5 years straight. And then I think something about a Utah-based company came in and took it, I think.
Oh, okay. So somebody
it's
bought
a little
it.
foggy
Somebody
with
bought it from Disney, basically.
I think so.
Okay, weird. Okay. Huh.
Fact check me on that.
I had no idea.
Please.
I did not know that part of it.
Yeah.
So if you haven't seen the movie, I definitely recommend you check it out. I'm just gonna tell you the basic plot of it and what it's about. So basically, it's about Tim Ballard, a Homeland Security agent who arrests child predators and people that watch child porn and distribute it and stuff like this. In the beginning of the film, he ends up busting this, creepy, normal-looking pedophile kind of guy, kind of what you'd expect. The skinny cut type, not the fat type, and is able to befriend him, make him think he's on his side, that he's also a connoisseur of children, and that he thinks, it's the best thing ever, and is able to convince this pedophile to set him up an appointment with this kid that they call Teddy Bear. That's like his, human trafficking name. I forget what his actual name is. And once the kid is rescued, he asks him to save his sister. And so overall, I think it's a really good movie. The cinematography is done very well. Definitely a very high-budget movie. And I'd say it's overall pretty realistic.
Yeah, definitely. And we're not gonna get into too much of the whole movie and the whole story of the movie because we don't want to spoil it for you guys, and we want you to, if you have not seen it, go out and see it. And there's a cool little program, if you cannot afford it, you can opt into it where people actually pay for your tickets so you can see it.
Yeah.
That was at the end of the movies, just in case if people cannot afford going to the movies or anything like that.
Which is a cool thing to do.
Yeah, really cool, and actually shows that they're very genuine and serious about spreading this kind of message, right?
100%.
And that to me makes it seem way more wholesome.
Oh yeah, I 100% agree. Also, I think this is overall, in terms of movies that have been released lately, is probably the most important movie of a decade, maybe.
Oh, literally.
It's the most I'm glad that a movie like this is actually, released, because it is a message that needs to be spread out there, and it needs to be something that people, see.
And the insane thing about it is that it's generated more revenue than fucking Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
So far.
Oh, damn.
Within the first week, I think.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was...
It's probably spread like wildfire. I mean, they did a good
literally.
job, too.
And I think the reason why it's so popular is, of course, they did a good job. It's definitely an A movie. But it's because the American people are craving something real. We haven't actually gotten a dose of reality in a while. And I think people are getting tired of it, genuinely. People, at least, who can think rationally enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at a lot of the movies that are released, they're kind of pandering towards an obvious political
100%.
ideology, an obvious political
like
spectrum.
Barbie. But I've heard things about Barbie. I've obviously not seen it, but I've heard that it's a really good movie overall. But the thing is, they have this feminist bullshit in it where Barbie and Ken split up, and Ken is the one that caused all of Barbie's issues and is essentially pushing that women should be more independent from men. essentially, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I do agree with the message that people should be their own individuals before actually going into a really serious relationship so they can find out who they are, but it's still selling a bad image of men.
I don't know, man. I just genuinely think like pushing like everybody towards individualism is a bad thing because people aren't individual. Let's be honest about
True.
that. Most people are just in kind of like this one group.
That is
There's
fair.
very few people that actually think for themselves and actually look for try to find what is true because it's a hard thing to do.
I guess I'm talking from my own standpoint, yeah. Because
I
we're
mean,
not normal people.
Yeah, I think people should be able to be individuals, but I don't think it's what the main message should be because people
No.
aren't.
Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the movie, what did you overall think about it?
I think it was overall really wholesome. I think that they do believe in their message. I think that it's for a good cause, and I think it is for a cause that's actually happening. And it doesn't really matter about the scale of the issue. All that matters is that there are literally kids getting sold into human trafficking, right? And
Yeah.
we should focus our attention to that, and especially since it's happening, in America specifically, as a big hot spot for it.
100%. We're the
Yeah.
biggest. Yeah, we're the biggest contributor
Literally.
to it. I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Literally. And it's very peculiar that we're trying to open our borders right now while the child trafficking is happening. I think it's like 300,000 human trafficking victims are transported over the border, Mexican border,
That makes
each
sense.
year or something like that. Fact check me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's around that.
The whole open borders thing, do they mean literally just to let anybody in? Because
I-
if that's what they mean,
that's
then
the
that's
only-
just dumb.
That's the only conclusion
That's
I can
stupid.
get.
Because then, why wouldn't countries just dump their prisoners? Because, they cost money to
That-
fucking maintain.
yeah.
Just give us all the fucking... That's what's happening in
Cartels.
Europe right now.
Yeah, literally.
Like,
with,
people are just being dumped into fucking Europe all over.
from Africa, right?
Yeah, from Africa. And I think a lot of them are... I don't know if this is true, but some of them were like prisoners.
I mean, a similar situation did happen with our borders in Mexico. Like hundreds of thousands, I think, of Mexican citizens were trying to cross the border when there's a limited time.
Yeah. It's just not...
It's
just
not
not
smart.
intelligent, obviously. Like, we should do what America does best and just take the best people.
Literally.
And not... Because that's what's happening to Paris right now. It's the reason Paris is burning is because
Yeah.
they just let anybody in.
Yeah, literally.
It's like, obviously, if you got a bunch of, like, weak soy men, then,
I mean,
foreign people are going to end up taking shit over.
I do agree with the message, the belief that what makes America great is that it's a gigantic melting pot of a bunch of different cultures. However, take the best people from those other cultures. That's the thing, because
Yeah.
there are dangerous and pretty much evil people all around the world, not just
100%.
us, all over the world, and deadbeats too. And we don't want to take those people in because that's just worsening our country.
100%. It's just... It's really fucking dumb.
It's overall realistic for sure. I like the film a lot. Probably, and I agree with you, most important film released to America this year just because I think people are just craving something real. And that is something real. It doesn't matter about the scale of the issue, like I said. And it's interesting that a lot of media, like big stream media corporations, are attacking both before and after the movie was released. Very interesting.
Yeah, man, it doesn't make any sense. Like, they're calling it a crazy QAnon conspiracy theory. Just to discredit it, because I'm not super familiar with QAnon, but from my understanding, they believe some wild stuff. And so they're lumping in Tim Ballard, a guy that is trying to fight a very specific issue, and they're lumping that in with all sorts of crazy stuff, like probably Flat Earth and who the fuck knows, Hillary Clinton eats babies and stuff like that. Just to discredit it, and it really makes you wonder, like, why is that? Why would they want to discredit this movie so badly?
Yeah, literally. Why are they trying to defend the assertion that child trafficking isn't really a thing? Human trafficking, you don't need to worry about that. Fuck them. They're on their own. They're not saying that necessarily, but they're acting like it's completely not an issue, and they're just saying that the Sound of Freedom is specifically a right-wing leaning movie that's trying to convince you of QAnon conspiracy theories. And I think from my understanding with the QAnon believers is that essentially there's a gigantic pedophile ring uh, with elites specifically that are harvesting, well, both having sex with the children, of course, but also harvesting, what is that one stuff called? From their brain?
Adrenochrome.
Yeah, adrenochrome from their brains to make them younger, I guess.
Mm.
That's a thing, and it's also based around a lot of satanic beliefs.
Yeah, well, I mean, QAnon encompasses all kinds of stuff. It's
That's
not just that. It's all
But that is a
sorts of
big
shit.
part of it, I believe.
Well, that is one of the conspiracies they believe, but I think they also probably believe in like reptilians and like the
Yeah,
Earth is
that's probably
flat
true.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That has no basis in reality, and so they're just
Yeah.
trying to pile Tim Ballard and like with him his Operation Underground Railroad to fight
Yeah.
this stuff into this ridiculous extremist group essentially.
And they're literally finding anything to attack the movie and the production of it from every single angle. Such as, I saw like one or two, I think it was yesterday, I saw an article that was saying that the title was essentially asserting that one of the main big investors for the movie production was charged with pedophilia.
Is that true?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It's just,
Maybe
it's just,
true,
and it could be very well true. But the thing is, they're trying to find every single minute detail to attack it from and to discredit it, to make it seem like it's made by bad people with other intentions.
Yeah, well, it's just funny. Like the tactic is to attack the people,
Yeah,
and with discrediting the people, a lot of times people think, well, it must just not be true.
yeah,
Even though if there are people in that that were part of making that movie that were charged with some like child pornography, it doesn't mean that the whole fucking film and all the information around it is discredited, and it also doesn't mean that the movie somehow had bad intentions. Like
It was
if you
just-
watch that, you're gonna become a pedophile. Like
and the funny thing
Doesn't
is,
make sense.
it sounded like it was just an investor.
oh, weird.
Yeah, it wasn't even someone in our organization at all. It was
Okay, so
an
just
investor.
anybody kind of sort of loosely connected with it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, that's strange.
And they also said the main actor that played Tim Ballard also played Christ in The Passion of Christ, I believe it was. They also said that he's expressed some QAnon beliefs, but it doesn't matter what the actors believe at all, as long as they keep their own shit out of the main message of the movie, which they did. And in my opinion, as long as the structure, the bones of the movie holds to be true, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Literally.
Well, it doesn't make sense, like attacking some because he has a QAnon belief that you don't say what it is,
Yeah.
acting as if that every single thing that QAnon, that the QAnon group believes is bullshit. When like in every group, there is some truth. Now
Yeah.
it might be a small amount of truth, but there is some.
Yeah.
And it's just odd to me how you just discredit a whole group based on some opinions that aren't correct.
Definitely. And it's kind of funny. All of these mainstream news agencies are attacking it. That's actually boosting its message, making
Yeah,
it
of course.
more popular and putting it out in the open. The thing is, it wouldn't be as successful as it is if they just had left it alone, didn't say anything about it. That's the thing. That's making people who are like questioning, why are they trying to discredit this so much, go and see it. And that's actually a large amount of Americans. I believe there are a large amount of Americans that are controlled by institutions and mainstream media. However, I think that there is a good portion of America that is craving the truth, that is questioning things. I think there is still that in us.
Yeah.
I don't think we've
I mean,
lost
I think
all of
most people are reasonable
Yeah.
intrinsically. It's just like they kind of get brainwashed into believing certain things so they don't get fired from
Exactly.
their job because there's real world consequences to saying you believe certain things and you'll be outcast from
Yeah.
the group. Most people, genuinely are curious about like what's going on. Like,
Literally.
why is this such a bad movie? Like, why is it so inaccurate?
Yeah, and it seems completely realistic, and there's no prejudice in it at all. It's just showing you the facts. And I don't know if the last part where he actually travels into that uncharted area where it's like the government doesn't control that area. I won't talk about it too much. But the last part of the movie, I don't know if that was actually real because it seems a little extreme. But even if it wasn't, the structure of it is like the whole point of the movie is to broadcast the idea that it is an issue and we need to do something about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, agreed.
And it doesn't seem like it has any QAnon beliefs in it at all. It's not. It didn't showcase around a story where, oh, these elites are harvesting child blood. No, not at all. It was just creepy, gross people buying children and having sex with them.
Yeah, it's not like they were saying like Bill Gates did it or something.
Yeah.
It's
Just
just like it's
day-to-day people.
believable.
Yeah,
Well, day-to-day creepy fucking old
criminals and
gross,
shit. Yeah.
disgusting.
One of the articles, actually, I'll cite one right now. One of the titles. Have you ever heard of Rolling Stone? I'm sure most of you have.
Yeah.
It's a very big news agency. Literally, I don't know when it was released, but this was July 7th by Miles Klee. And they're trying to discredit it by making it sound like this is completely an outrageous movie for a specific demographic of people that are generally perceived as crazy. The title of this article is literally is Sound of Freedom is a superhero movie for dads with brainworms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the description of it, the brief description of it is the QAnon teen thriller about child trafficking is designed to appeal to the conscience of a conspiracy-addled boomer.
Yeah,
Really?
man. Yeah.
The thing is, it's a little suspicious that you're trying to make these kind of more rational-seeming people sound crazy. It's a little suspicious that you're trying to make these people an outcast of society. Like, right?
It's strange, yeah.
It's
it doesn't
very
make sense.
suspicious that at the same time the government is trying to open the borders, and a lot of like US Today critiqued this movie in a bad way, attacked it, and all of these big mainstream organizations are attacking this movie. It almost makes me feel like that it is a gigantic issue and elites are involved. It's a little suspicious. It just makes me question things, you know?
I don't even know, like, what I think it probably is. I don't think it's, like, a huge grand conspiracy theory necessarily, but I think that there are a good amount of people in positions of power,
Yeah.
like in these news agencies, whatever,
Yeah.
blah, 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 all throughout our government and stuff, that do purchase children
Yeah.
and that, you know, don't want to be exposed.
Yeah, they don't want attention being brought to the issue because they're afraid that maybe, oh, if people start investigating this enough, they're going to find my shit.
Exactly, and I think
Yeah.
it's probably a small number of people.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think
don't
I think there's enough powerful people that probably do partake a bit.
And the thing is, if we actually started focusing on this issue now because of the movie, the first place we would look to get to the bottom of this issue is the whole Epstein Island thing. Because that was a big source of child buying. Like,
Well, that was a weird fucking thing because of how it happened, and then he just like died, which is a conspiracy theory that everybody's like, yeah, okay, somebody probably killed him. I mean, he was like associated with like the Clintons and like all kinds of people. What reputation do the Clintons have? And didn't they like own the prison that he died in or something?
Yeah.
It's like, maybe maybe they paid somebody to maybe off him.
And this is an unrelated thing, but it seems like conspiracy theories aren't seeming so crazy now because you know how the term conspiracy theory came out when, JFK got assassinated, and 50 years later there's enough information released to, if you're a rational person that sifts through all of it, to actually make the conclusion that, the CIA was probably a part of it and was probably the ones that did assassinate JFK, and that there was reputable sources within the CIA that their names are undisclosed that did say that they think that the CIA did it. So the whole origin of the term conspiracy theory with the JFK incident now is kind of proven to be true. For the most part, it's a little weird. It seems
I don't
like
know, I
the
don't
term.
know any details about that.
My point is, it seems like the term conspiracy theory is used when the government knows you're right, but you're right too soon, and they don't want to admit you're right yet.
Well, but then that's the problem too. Is like I don't think that's true either because there's a bunch of conspiracy theories that are definitely not true.
Yeah.
Like I don't think the elites
Like,
are reptilians.
I don't think
Obama
that.
was the spawn of Satan, and I don't think the
But
Earth
the
is flat.
thing is, they don't label shit like that. Like big mainstream corporations like that, they don't label reptilians or outrageous shit, dumb shit like that, conspiracy theories. They only label.
Okay.
Have they really talked about it? they really talked about reptilians? Have you seen a
It just
BBC
probably hasn't gotten
article?
blown up. It's probably
Yeah.
out there. I'm sure there's
It's probably
there's
is,
probably
but
some big mainstream ones about all that stuff too.
my point is that a lot of baseline conspiracy theories, such as the JFK, UFOs, and the Epstein Island thing, are true.
Yeah, there's some truth in it, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I just have a hard time believing like it's a super grand conspiracy theory because I don't think.
I'm not saying it's super grand. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it could be true. It could hold some merit.
I think there is some. Yeah, I think there is some merit
Yeah.
in a lot of them, but I think there's also some crazy ones which makes like rational people not even look into them at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like reptilians.
Yeah,
Fucking
and those were probably
flat
created.
Earth.
And who knows? Maybe those were created to make the whole conspiracy theory term more believable. Who
Yeah, I
knows?
don't know, man. I don't know.
Who knows? You know.
There's just no proof. That's just all conjecture, though, is the thing.
But the thing is, it just seems like the big ones, the really big ones that founded the terms conspiracy theories, are getting exposed to be true.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah. Like the UFOs right now, they held a fucking Congress meeting about UFOs. They recovered biological entities that are not of human origin. They recovered the first in Spain or Italy, I think, in 1933. They uncovered the first UFO, shit like that. The most baseline conspiracy theory of believing in aliens is now becoming true.
My whole thing
what
with
they
all
want you to
that
believe.
is I don't know if I believe in aliens now.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
Well-
I think there are aliens, of course, but
Yeah.
but it makes me not want to believe it
Yeah.
because the government said it, so it's not cool anymore.
It makes me not, yeah, right, but it makes me not trust the information the government is putting out there.
Well, I think a lot of things like that will be weaponized
Exactly.
eventually.
Killing two birds with one stone, in my opinion. They're distracting the public from what's happening with Hunter Biden and a lot of other shit. And Bluebeam. Project Bluebeam.
What the
What?
fuck is that?
You don't know what Project Bluebeam
No.
is? So Project Bluebeam is the conspiracy theory where people think where the government is going to fake an alien invasion, create a one world
Oh,
government.
that's that one. Okay.
Yep. Anyway, let's get back to the movie.
Maybe that'll happen. Who knows?
It seems like it, but that's just me. But anyway, my whole point with that little tangent was just that, for me, them labeling this film a conspiracy theory, when you actually go and see it, seems completely realistic. It seems structurally good, whatever. It seems, the base of it seems factually correct, and it doesn't seem ridiculous at all. It just seems
Yeah.
a little weird.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how they've also tried to discredit like some of the film by saying that a lot of the operations that they say in the movie didn't happen when like all of them are recorded.
Yeah.
Like he records basically every fucking trafficking ring he busts and puts it, on the internet so that people can see what they're paying for in terms of like their donation for the charity he has.
Definitely.
And so it's just weird how they're saying things that just aren't true because they know people won't fact check it.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird. Just makes me think there's a little bit more of an involvement behind it to try to discredit it,
What do you? I just think like it's the thing I said before. I think that's all it is.
Yeah,
That there are
100%.
some people
No, I completely agree.
that because there
What else
has
is
to
there?
be.
What else?
If there's people like in the middle, there has to be people at the very top that like kiddies.
Yeah.
Like children.
And then there was another article. Who's this by? What fucking? This is thenation.com. Sound of Freedom. The title is Sound of Freedom is a QAnon fever dream. The slight description is the third biggest movie of the summer is an action thriller about child sex trafficking that eagerly caters to right-wing paranoia. Seems a little weird. I advise you all to just go and see it for yourselves. See if it's, right-wing oriented, if it's religiously based, all of this bullshit that they're saying about it, and if it isn't, do with that what you will.
Yeah, it's just funny how things that aren't political at all are now like being labeled, are being discredited with, like by calling it like right wing, and like calling these things political when it's just something that is bad that happens in the world that people should be aware of. If
Definitely.
you want to be informed. And that's how you discredit any movement to half of the population is by like, oh, this is just a right wing conspiracy theory because conspiracies are just a right wing thing, and if you're on the left, then you can't.
And they're Republicans.
You can't believe any conspiracies whatsoever.
Yeah.
And, it's just.
And all the mainstream
strange.
shit, you know.
And it really makes all of these media outlets lose all credibility.
Literally. For anyone who has, common sense and actually looks into this shit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a topic like this is clearly apolitical.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's a human issue. It's not a political issue.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. If you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment down below on what you think about this, and subscribe. I advise y'all to go check out the movie if you haven't already, and have a beautiful day.
See you next time.